Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Dawn Patrol. I'm Cliff Krieger, your host. My co-host, Eileen Delrossi, is parking her car and will be here in just a moment. Warning, today is Friday the 13th. So, be careful. Back in history in the year 313, the decision of the Edict of Milan, signed by Constantine the Great and co-emperor Valerius Licinius, granting religious freedom throughout the Roman Empire. And that was a good move for the Christians and the Jews. In 1325, Ibn Battuta began his travels, leaving his home in Tangiers to travel to Mecca, but he was gone 24 years because he made it all the way to China and back and then wrote about it. So he was, before Marco Polo, there was Ibn Battuta. 1381, in England, the Peasants' Revolt, led by Wat Taylor, came to a head as rebels set fire to the Savoy Palace. Just part of our political history. What?
Choke up a little bit on the mic.
All right.
Tip it down a little bit. Thank you.
In 1525, Martin Luther marries Katharina von Bora against the celibacy rules of the church for priests and nuns. So Martin Luther was breaking away. In 1774, Rhode Island became the first of Britain's North American colonies to ban the importation of slavery. Good on you, Rhode Island. 1777, during the American Revolution, Guibert de Moutier, the Marquis de Lafayette, lands near Charleston, South Carolina, in order to help the Continental Congress train the Army. I always thought it was great when we joined World War I, and American forces landed in France to go to the front, and the commander, William Pershing, was supposed to have said, "Lafayette, we are here," which showed a good sense of humor and thanks for the French help. In 1893, Grover Cleveland notices a rough spot in his mouth, and on July 1 undergoes secret successful surgery to remove a large cancerous portion of his jaw, setting a precedent long honored. The operation was not revealed to the public until 1917, 9 years after the president's death. 1944, World War II, Germany launches the first V-1 flying bomb attack on England. Only 4 of the 11 bombs hit their targets. 1966, U.S. Supreme Court rules in Miranda versus Arizona that the police must inform suspects of their Fifth Amendment rights before questioning them, colloquially known as Mirandizing. Because why is this? Apparently because school teachers don't do a good job of teaching people about their rights. And in 1997, a jury sentenced Timothy McVeigh to death for his part in the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing. Today, in 1893, Dorothy L. Sayers was born, a British author, poet, and one of her series was put on TV, Lord Peter Wimsey, which I thought was a great series. 1937, Eleanor Holmes Norton American lawyer and politician, was born. She has served 18 terms as the D.C. non-voting rep to the U.S. House of Representatives. Passed away in 1886. Ludwig II, King of Bavaria, born in 1845.
Hey, Cliff, can you back up a little bit? I was in the other room watching TV. Was it Grover Cleveland that had cancer of the jaw and
Yes.
it was kept secret?
Kept secret.
Now, in your research,
Yes.
wasn't any explanation made to the public why it was kept secret? It was way before social media. You couldn't talk back to government like you can now.
I didn't research that, and my suspicion, just speculation, is we don't want to think that there's any weakness on the part of the president.
So, that's your thought.
That's just my thought.
Was he up for re-election?
I don't know.
Because right then you could run 55 times, correct? That was before the law.
Yeah.
So, what party was he? I'll look it up. Never mind.
Republican, I think.
So the Republicans started this cover-up business.
Well, we don't know. There may have been cover-ups before that.
Oh,
So,
Good point.
Ludwig, the Mad King of Bavaria, had built a couple of palaces, Neuschwanstein and Linderhof. For those of you who don't quickly picture Neuschwanstein, think Disneyland out in Anaheim, California. The castle they have out there is a replica of Neuschwanstein. This is a huge castle up on a hill. You have to walk up the hill to get to it. It's great to visit.
have you been there?
Yeah. Only has one bathroom.
Any pictures?
No. I always count on you for pictures.
Well, I did. I wasn't there. So was this in the last century you visited?
Yeah, last century.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see, I think it would have been like 1968 or so.
That's the Wayback Machine.
Yeah. Good days.
Did Martha go with you?
Yes.
Now, was it you living around that was just a day trip?
Oh, I think it was, since it was, we drove to Bavaria, I think it was several days. It was a vacation.
How do we spell the name of this castle?
Neu
N-E-U-S-C-H.
Sch.
I got it. And we'll go with images. Coming at the speed of government. Let me move the camera over to there.
That's it. The one on the left.
Yeah, try to make
Oh,
it
the
big.
one on the right.
Still doesn't want to make it big. Oh, there you go, lad.
Yeah.
And so that looks like is it gigantic?
Yeah.
And there's only one bathroom?
Yes.
What was going through their mind?
It was the 1800s.
They didn't have hot water yet.
They probably had hot water, but they had hot water by heating it in a pan on a fire.
So if you, so here you are up in your luxurious bedroom. We'll say you're up in, your bedroom's up in this tower here. It's 2 o'clock. What do? Go out the window? You're gonna walk down, did you see the one bathroom that was in the building?
I can't remember if we did or not.
Okay.
The other thing that sticks out is that Ludwig didn't like seeing servants around, so food was delivered by dumbwaiters. You know those things
Yep.
where you reach into
We
the
have
wall
one
and
here.
pull a cord?
We have one here.
Oh, you do?
Yes. It's all boarded up and everything else, but there's just the little door to raise up is still there. But people who lived in this house 100 years ago, they had servants.
Ah,
There are servants' quarters in the attic. Not heated. No heat in the attic. And they're like, wow, they treated help like dirt. But hey, that's it. But anyway, this gigantic building, and it's pretty high off the ground. Is it level around anywhere around the
No,
base?
it's on the top of a hill. You have to walk up a bit.
Yeah. I'll say, now what, this is in Germany, huh?
Bavaria, Germany.
And it survived World War I and World War II.
It did.
And it's made of stone.
Stone.
Beautiful building.
The other castle we had was Linderhof. Not quite this
Well, this is what
massive.
Disney was made out of.
Yeah,
Disney's, this was the seed for the Disney castle,
right.
this idea. Okay. Cool. Does the other one look like Disney castle too?
Does what?
The other one you're talking about look like Disney's castle?
No.
Okay. Back over to you.
If you want to look at it, it's spelled Linderhof. Hof. Linderhof. Remember I said Eileen was pulling into the parking lot? I was wrong. She
she's gonna-
detoured for a donut.
She's going to get donuts. Bless her heart. This looks more like
I thought I would cut back today, but apparently not. Did you find Linderhof?
yeah.
Yes. That's a beautiful place.
Now, where is this one?
It's also in Bavaria, not far from
Germany?
Neuschwanstein, Germany, yeah.
It's like saying Belvedere when you're down in Boston. They go, where's Belvedere?
It's interesting, Bavaria being an independent kingdom until they pulled it all together. I
So
went to
how many bathrooms did you go in this one?
I did, and I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
But I went to a change of command ceremony for a German fighter wing in Bavaria. They played the Bavarian national anthem.
That's cool.
That'd be like playing the Massachusetts song, whatever it is, for some U.S. Air Force change of command ceremony here. What is our song in Massachusetts?
If you don't like it here, leave.
Anyway, a beautiful palace worth going to visit. We've been
Morning, Eileen.
saved.
Happy Friday.
Eileen is
You're
here.
delivering the treats now. You're the best.
Dunkin's coconut cream. I feel like they've been stepping it up.
This is the Dunkin's coconut cream donut I got here, so we'll see.
So, today's the feast
Thank
day
you, Eileen.
of Anthony of Padua, doctor of the church. Thanks, Eileen. And
What'd Cliff get?
I got him a chocolate cruller. I heard him talking about Bavarian cream when I came in.
Okay.
Obviously, there's no Bavarian cream in the local area. So,
oh, no, Martha's found one in Market Basket.
Oh,
How-
wrong camera. Let's try
Very
this
nice.
guy. There you go.
all right. So, Bavarian cream at Market Basket. They
Yeah.
actually do everything great. Even the best sub sandwiches.
I didn't know that.
Pizza, $5.99.
Where's this place?
Market Basket.
Oh, yeah, Market Basket, yeah. Thank you, Arthur DeMoulis.
I was surprised that the Episcopal Church of the United States celebrates today as a feast day for Gilbert K. Chesterton, G.K. Chesterton, who's a Roman Catholic, or was when he passed away.
I feel like the Episcopalian and the Catholic religion are very entwined,
Yes.
right?
Get a little closer to the mic, kiddo.
Okay, so my grandfather was obviously Catholic, but my mother was Episcopalian, right? So they would go to both St. Michael's and then to St. Anne's. No. What's the one right here on Gorham Street?
Duncan's?
Not Duncan's.
I didn't know what the issue was.
Church.
The Episcopal Church right here.
St.
For a
John's.
lot, it's Duncan.
St. John's.
It is St. John's.
St. John's, yeah.
Okay, so they go to both St. Michael's and then to St. John's, and now as we even raise our
Well, they're
children.
related to downtown, too.
Huh?
St. Anne's. They're related to St. Anne's.
Yeah.
Yes, and so now we bring our kids usually on Christmas Eve to the Episcopalian Mass, and then we do the Catholic thing.
Okay.
St. Mike's is magnificent.
Yeah.
Today is International Albinism Day, Awareness Day.
International what day?
Albino.
Albino.
It's when somebody is super, super white, even their eyelashes don't pigmentate, so they're super white. It's interesting. I just was reading something about someone famous who has an albino child.
Ah. So it's a genetic differentiation. So,
Well, the poor kiddo's going to walk around his whole life looking like a ghost.
It happens.
Ghostly white.
I would say one in every school I've ever worked with has it.
Wow.
I've never met anyone. That's interesting.
Yeah.
By the-
I mean,
By the way, you missed it, going back to 1966, U.S. Supreme Court ruled in Miranda versus Arizona that the police must inform suspects of their Fifth Amendment rights. And the reason the court ruled this way is that school teachers weren't doing their job.
school teachers weren't doing their job?
Yeah, because they weren't
You got to be
educating the young kids
Okay.
about their rights.
my children.
Yes.
Look at each other on the monitor and keep your face looking at the microphone. Because when you look at each other, your sound drops off severely.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so what's up with the Karen Reed show?
Oh, well, I
Well,
just
Cliff,
saw
before we
that.
do that, do you want to talk anything more about your honeymoon cottage?
No,
This was before, when Cliff was in the service.
well
as a
worth a
colonel,
visit.
Was the house they gave him. When they first got married, Martha and Cliff, the Air Force,
Seriously?
this is the house that Cliff had.
Where is that?
Have you ever heard of Mad King Ludwig?
No.
One of Cliff's cousins.
This is one of his palaces. The other one you know from watching Disney. Neuschwanstein.
All right.
I'll go to the Wayback Machine.
How about you speak of the English?
Look at this, their cemetery. Yikes, okay.
We're on our way back to Neuschwanstein. That's not it.
There you go. That's a nice looking cabin. I gotta go to history. And we'll go back here. Well, how do you spell that? Nishwash?
Neusch.
We got it already, so thank you, Cliff.
There it is. Look at that, Eileen. That's the best picture right
It
there, the
looks-
one on the left.
I see that.
I'll get it big.
No, no,
lost
go
you.
back, John, to the picture on the left.
You know what
On
that
the
reminds me of? I went to once Block Island. It
No.
was
Yeah, that view right there,
It's the
the
same
one on the
view.
left.
This one?
Yeah, it's a slightly different view.
All right. Oh, this one here.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me click on that guy. That's the back. That's the lower 40. Come on, baby. Won't get big. We'll fix its
It's
wagon.
okay.
Now we'll make a screenshot and we'll make this sucker bigger. Screenshot. Screenshot's now going to develop. Here it is. We can now make a gigantic land.
It does. Oh, that looks so peaceful.
So Cliff, they tried to honeymoon there, but they found out there was only one bathroom. There's only one bathroom in this building.
Are you serious?
Yes.
One.
Yeah.
So it was out.
Everything else was outdoor toilets.
Okay.
So the Disney Castle is,
Yeah, roughly based on this.
this was where the idea for the Disney Castle came from. So says Cliff. And I agree. Back over to you.
The Karen Reed case. Yep. For closing statements start today, and I woke up to this article too on my news feed. Former Stoughton police officer charged with killing Sandra Birchmore did not father her unborn baby. And that poor girl was passed around between Matthew Devine, I believe, and Matthew Farwell's brother. No, it's Robert Devine, Matthew Farwell's brother. I don't know what his name is, but did they exhume her body and check it
No,
out?
I don't think they exhumed it. I think this was from prior
It
activities.
It's quite interesting. I didn't read the whole article. My first thought was, is this real? Right? Because it came up on my news break feed, and then you have it here.
Yeah, I figured you'd find that interesting.
But a lot of things are just kind of coming together if you just, like, even the witnesses in the Karen Reed case this time around have proved to be so much stronger in saying, nope, he wasn't hit by a car. I know that. And, like, the evidence doesn't show he was hit by a car. Like, you can give somebody any evidence you want and tell them to construct something, and anyone can reverse engineer it, essentially.
So, are they going to quit Karen Reed, you think?
I hope so, but, I mean, I've been following the jurors from the last trial
Yeah.
on Turtle Boy and Turtle Boy was not guilty in his charges with the fake victim. So that's another huge thing.
Yep.
So it's like you have a Karen Reed, an Aidan Carney, Alan Jackson, David Yannetti, Robert Alessi going up against the Commonwealth, which I believe is truly transformed into the mafia. From what Whitey Bulger's reign was, like now the Commonwealth is like the new mob. And they use their power to have power control and to do what they want. And I think in this trial, the Karen Reed trial, where maybe people were more considerate of understanding, now they're like, no, this just didn't happen. Like there's no evidence, there's no medical evidence. He had a coup contra coup injury, which means he had to have fallen on a rigid area, a step or something. And my new theory, I don't know if I disclosed it here. I disclosed it on Twitter and to my work friends who also follow this, but you know how Karen Reed has said in her interviews, she saw him go in the door, and the whole door thing, they wanted to hide the garage door. I think he just went into the garage, and that's where it all happened. They needed to keep everyone there because, like the Brian Albert and the Brian Higgins knew it was a fatal injury because they're obviously first responders, so they knew it was bad. And that creates a true fact of the guy never came in the house, right? So those people weren't essentially lying, because I can't believe all of them are bad, right? Like, I believe, like, they would want to watch out in some way for the people. So it was just the guy never came in the house. And that was a very true fact. But I think it all went down in the garage. And here's the other thing, the timeline. I went back to the last trial and to this trial. And the Sarah Levinson, her statements were First, Brian Albert and Brian Higgins came. 5 minutes later, then, Nicole and the daughter, Caitlin Albert, right? And then 5 minutes later, the McCates, which means that whole timeline is off, right? So they got there first, and you know how they made that whole story up about the white Jeep, right? That was parked in between. I believe that white Jeep with the plow went into the garage because the homeowner obviously has the code for the garage, and that's where it all went down.
Do you think he could have been accidentally hit in the garage?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think any of this was planned, but I also do think he had a lot of information on the Mass State Police and Kevin Albert, who is Brian Albert's brother, who was involved with this Sandra Birchmer case. He knew something also that was a liability to them, not just that Brian Higgins wanted to hook up with Karen Reed.
So, if Karen Reed gets acquitted, will they try her again, or will they go look for someone else?
I think the defense will not allow it because you've already seen them go for mistrial without prejudice, the same thing in the Alec Baldwin case. And if they had any other judge beside Auntie Bev, then it would be a mistrial with prejudice.
What was O.J.'s wife's last name? Was it?
Nicole Brown Simpson?
Okay, Nicole Simpson. Someone robbed her of her life and got away with it. And this Boston cop, someone robbed him of his life, and they're going to get away with it.
And I don't think that David Yannetti, I don't think Robert Alessi or Alan Jackson or Liza Little will ever allow that to happen because they're now so invested in this. They don't want to see this for the Commonwealth. They don't even want to question that Karen Reed could have possibly done it. Does she have a bad look? Does she look stone cold? Absolutely. I agree with what everyone's saying. But if the whole entire Commonwealth has been trying to put you in jail for the past 3.5 years, how else are you going to look? Like, you're fighting for your life.
Now, she has a civil case also, right?
Yes, by the O'Keefe family. But, so here's the thing. At the end of the day, they were out drinking, and she did bring him to the place of his final demise, right? So that's the only thing that I could see even her being guilty in any way, shape, or form of, and she knew what was going on between her and Brian Higgins. I don't know what John
she was
knew.
carrying on an affair with Brian Higgins?
Yeah, that came out in the trial. They kissed. He was flirting. He had more of a thing for her than anything. If you ever get to see the waterfall video, actually, the waterfall video shows John and Karen being very loving. John kissing her on the head and everything, and Brian Higgins was watching the whole time. And the last text message from Brian Higgins to Karen Reed was, well, and then it was to John, are you coming here? I'll send you that. Microdots.
Okay.
It's intriguing. But Brian Higgins, ATF
So
agent.
still it's cherchez la femme, right?
I'm sorry.
Look for the woman. That's what this is all about.
I mean, it was she was mad at John O'Keefe because he was a heavy drinker and hooked up, maybe was kissing one of the Aruba Sullivan sisters, Mariana Sullivan, right? In Aruba, back in, Karen Reed had paid for John O'Keefe and the kids to go to Aruba, and then she saw John O'Keefe one night, I think it was New Year's Eve of 2022, and the new year, and she saw him like kissing this girl, right?
Okay,
And-
now wait a second. I was misled. Waterfall is a bar?
Yeah.
I thought it was an outside waterfall you're talking about until
No, yeah,
I
no.
said, let me see if I can go find the video.
Anthony and I, so yes, all you have to do is do this. Microdots is a great video, perfect.
So Joe, I just hit play. Mm-hmm. Is there any sound?
Actually, do JFK, which is not,
Well, we'll go with this one for a second. This is a 4-minute video.
okay, so you can see that's Brian Higgins.
Big boy.
Mm-hmm. And next to him to the left is Brian Albert. There's no sound to this whole thing.
Okay.
Karen Reed is where the white thing is, the white jacket is.
She's here?
Oh, no, wait. I'm sorry. That's Karina Kolakifis, the one in the black, but where you see her face, that is Karen Reed, and then that's Jen McCabe.
We're going to get these people a new camera. Got to call about. Look, can you?
It's a small place, and that's why it was so difficult for anyone to decipher. Now watch. Everyone's enjoying themselves, and
Where's
then
Reed?
stop it.
Alrighty.
Karen Reed is, see Brian Higgins with the big hoodie, right?
Yeah.
And then
She's
go
this-
up. Nope, that's Karina Kolakifis. She's right in the middle of
So
the.
Karen Reed's here?
Nope, nope, that is not. That's Caitlin Elbit. That's Jen McCabe. But in between, I think I have to. I'm not using the right preposition. Right there.
That doesn't help me, kid. What? You have to stay there.
Go
Put your
right.
finger again. Okay, now, when I have my,
Right there. That's Karen Reed.
this girl right
The
here.
middle. That's her here, right there.
Okay, so that's Karen Reed. Gotcha.
All right.
She's sitting right next to the guy.
Not, well,
Or is she across the bar?
she's kind of across the bar. There's Matt
Okay.
McCabe. There's the other Karina
And this
Kolak.
guy's going to go steal a smooch off her.
They've been texting,
Yeah.
and he's gotten into it. Even in one of the text messages, he referred to her as babe, right?
Yeah.
So he was way more invested than she was. And like they say, she was just really trying to check her market value. Okay, so zoom in.
Well, they're zooming. They're going to go to an ad now. Nope.
Okay, now here is another big part. You can see, stop, right there, where Chris Albert, that's Brian Albert, grabs Brian Higgins to be like, stop.
So this is Albert and this is Higgins.
So Higgins is in the middle. That's Chris Albert to the right, and to the left is Brian Albert, the homeowner. Chris Albert is now the selectman in Canton.
And these guys are all
They're-
intoxicated at this point?
I don't think Chris is, because he's the pizza guy who owns D&E Pizza in
Wait
Canton.
a second now. Is that this guy?
No, Chris Albert is to the right. Brian
So this
Higgins.
guy's sober.
Yes.
This guy might be intoxicated.
No, he was all day long in New York, came with Brian Albert
Nobody
on
in
the left.
Nobody in the picture is intoxicated.
No, Brian Higgins
I'm gonna
and
get-
Brian Albert, from what I understand, had to have been doing some amphetamine or something like that.
Oh. Drugs,
To be
okay.
able to stay up this long, you see how he grabs them, like, don't do this? But if you pull back the camera and you
I
can
can't.
look,
Is
he's calling somebody, come here, and that's John O'Keefe right there. And they say he all of a sudden does the two-step, like, what do you want to do? What
He's
do you
in
want?
the lower left-hand corner, too.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen this one. See the two-step right there, like, all right, you want to play? I got you. That's Karina Kolakifis. John pays the bill. He settles out.
Okay.
Now, okay, this must be a new one, Microdots.
It's still rolling. 7 months ago.
So that's,
So they're just talking in the bar,
yeah.
but I have not seen anybody make out with anybody.
No. At one point, like Karina Kolakifis, who's there, who's known John for a long time, says, I found it very interesting to see a boyfriend actually kiss his girlfriend's head, right? And when he did that, and I haven't been able to zoom in enough to really see, Brian Higgins, who had the crush on her, was looking exactly that way. And then later on,
So
texted
O'Keefe kissed his girlfriend's forehead. Mm-hmm. And this ticked off the other guy.
Higgins, yes. And Karina
Okay.
Kolakifis was a witness for the defense. Now,
That's it on this one.
how about, can you put in Brian Higgins at the Canton Police Station? All right, right here. Yeah, you see that? They were loving. Now, Brian Higgins, ATF agent, also
At the police station?
had free reign in an office in the Canton Police Station. And there's video of him going there at like 1:30 in the morning, right here.
Top one? Mm-hmm. Well, this is from CBS in Boston, so this is,
If you do
40 minutes.
microdots,
40
do microdots.
okay.
He has really good videos and he's able to like really get to the point. What was Higgins doing, the first one? And he
one?
analyzes it. Yeah.
That's a question. Do you want
Yes.
this one? Okay.
Yes. And you can zoom through it, but look at, he goes, like, this is his car coming in, his Jeep, into the Canton Police.
Seeing nothing. Okay, now it's snow.
All right, so this is Lucky Loughran, and they're saying this is the plow driver with the Frankenstein.
This is fake video.
It's fake, but they're showing what he would have seen, and he's saying he was there at 3:30, and then again a few hours later, and still didn't see a body. And oh wait, there's I lied. That's supposedly the Jeep that was parked in between Karen Reed and
But he had a plow on it. See?
yeah, he did have a plow on it. So, exactly. And that's what I think was in the garage at Brian Albert's house. And that he could have got that contra Q injury for the head.
There's not a lot of snow on the Jeep, so.
No.
And
So
I know
at
this
that
is
time,
fake. I know this is a fake video.
so this was about 1:15 in the morning. Now, zoom. The rest is not fake. Watch. He walks into the Canton Police Station. He parks his Jeep.
Okay. I guess this is an overview of the Canton Police Station.
Yeah, you can just keep going through, right? So he walks in. He had an office there that was given to him by Ken Berkowitz. Watch. Same sweatshirt. He goes into dispatch. Something happens. Maybe he gives them a heads up. But this video was never released to even the defense until this trial number 2.
Nice police station, roomy.
It's beautiful, right? I wouldn't mind spending some time there. I mean,
Well,
No.
as long as it's not behind bars.
okay, so this is Turtle Boy going in and saying, like, is this where Brian Higgins came? Like, he's kind of calling them out. So you can zoom even through this. And then, and you can even keep going forward, right?
Well, there's a lot of data that it doesn't like you doing
Oh, see,
this.
now he's leaving the Canton Police, so did he give them all a heads up? Like, on how to deal with a certain call that would come in?
Now we're gonna look at snow outside.
And he said he had to go to,
See, he's got a plow on his Jeep. If this is his Jeep, he's got a plow
yes,
on.
that's his Jeep. So,
And it wasn't a garage, because look at the snow on this car and the snow on the
oh,
Jeep.
that's a good point. I didn't even realize that. It wasn't a garage.
So he came out of his garage with deliberacy down at the police station.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. That's a great point, Mr. McDonough. Are you running for city council?
No, I'm not. We have somebody running for city. In fact, yesterday I went down with Bobby Hoey, and I double parked outside, and he ran in City Hall, took the pictures of all the candidates that have taken papers through 2 o'clock yesterday. So we'll put those up later on. Oh, here we go with an ad. And all these public access guys get ticked off when I run. I'm not getting any money from this ad.
So yeah, you look at the picture, and he said he had to go to Canton Police Station to do administrative tasks, even though he was an ATF agent, and he considered his,
Well, he wasn't there that long.
no, he moved some cars, but, which is also interesting, is some people actually,
Well, now they're zeroing in on this car over here.
yes, because he goes in there and takes out a huge duffel bag. Like, what was in the duffel bag? I'm going to Twitter this, what you just said, because that's become my new thing. I like to Twitter. You can only say so many words.
They're zooming in on this character.
Who is, wait, I'm visually, perceptually challenged, so who do you see? How many people do you see?
I see a guy out in the snow. I see one guy one person out in the snow. It could be a woman, could be a man. I can't tell who that is.
That's Higgins,
Well, that's what you say.
I believe. But do you see another person? Because people
Now
have,
somebody's getting out of the car.
yes, but when he opens the door, do you see somebody in that back seat?
Let me back this up a little bit. We see this guy, because there he is, rummaging around here. Does he come around the back of the car? Oh, yeah, he does, and he gets in the car.
He opens the door, and doesn't it look like there's somebody in there?
I think it's just a reflection. You mean this
Okay.
thing right here?
Yeah, I mean, I have my own eye
Reflection
challenges.
doesn't move.
Okay.
So that's the interior lights of the car. Good point. It could be somebody, because the interior lights are on in the car.
But it
But
does
that-
it again as you zoom through it, and you see the same exact reflection, or maybe it is just like what you say, a reflection, but
Well, right here, this is the interior lights illuminating the interior of the Jeep. That's my take.
oh, okay.
Because when the door shuts, the lights almost go out instantly, and then that reflection goes away, which means you look at the interior of a car.
And if there was a person in there, then it would stay on, right? Because usually,
See, the lights just went out.
okay.
So I'm going to skirt through this.
And then he goes into this car and takes out a huge bag.
So he knows the car's unlocked. Who
Right?
doesn't lock their car?
But you have to realize Kevin Albert is a detective in the Canton Police. Brian
And
Albert,
he doesn't, so that's not a reason for not locking your car. What's your take, Cliff?
I think most people lock their car, yeah.
but I think the bigger thing is that Brian Albert had unlimited access to the Canton PD. Additionally, Kevin Albert was a detective in Canton Police Department. They all had unlimited access to that police station. So if something happened, they made a phone call.
Yeah, that reflection, Eileen, it's just the seat. That's the headrest of the Jeep. I just think that he's got a mighty bright interior light there, but that's just the seat on the passenger
But
side.
am I crazy for saying it kind of looks like a person in
No,
there?
you're not crazy, but I mean, when you think about it,
No.
if the seats are white,
Push it a little further.
you'd think that that's a car seat. And
Uh.
that's my take.
But he doesn't have kids. He's never had a child.
But it's a regular passenger's front
Oh, it's
seat.
a car. All right. All right.
And we got some comments from the audience.
Now
Oh,
watch
no
him.
snow. Oh, yeah, I think they talked about no snow. There was little
Yes.
snow on the Jeep.
That was a great point, John. I didn't even think of that.
Well, it's
Watch
cer-
this, like, So he goes into the front, and then he goes into the back, and he takes this huge bag out. No, not yet, but
He's gonna go in the back of the truck. Looks like a pickup truck. It looks like a cab.
and whose was it that he knew it was going to be unlocked, and he said he had to go to Canton to do the Canton PD to do some administrative tasks,
Some people don't lock their cars, ever.
which I get, right? But
My late brother Joe, he would never lock his car.
I'm not a fan of blocking my
He
car.
always put his car keys on the back tire of the car.
That's smart. Did he have ADHD? Because that's something I should always.
No, that's because he'd leave his car, because first I went down to pick up Joe's car at the airport. I said, well, how am I going to get the keys? They're on the back wheel. Like I should know this. But that's where it
No. When's the point that he gets the big bag?
I want 2 more time. We don't got a lot more time on this video, kid. Then we'll go
But
back
there
to
is a
Cliff.
point towards the end that he grabs like a huge duffel bag. If you just put in actually into Google, Brian Higgins taking out duffel bag out of truck, it could just bring you to that point because this is so. All right, here, because Microdots puts the circle of, actually, you don't even have to do that because, oh, no, I lied.
You got nothing. We might go back. We only have another moment, 1 minute left on this video.
All right. So is it the last moment that he does it, or is this?
My guess is his cell phone's in the car, and he's talking over the car. So he's got to go back to his car and yell to the thing, I don't see any effing
No,
duffel bag.
He pulls out. So I don't know at what point that he takes the duffel bag out, but it's a huge duffel bag he takes out from the back of that truck and puts it in
We'll
the
see.
back of his
My
Jeep.
guess is he's still on his telephone, talking over the car speakers.
If you look to the right.
No, we need you on the microphone. To the right? I can't. Right over here?
Oh, no. The smaller screen that showed up on the right, just if you were to zoom back,
It's gone.
just, all right. And then he
There he
leaves.
leaves.
That's it.
So if you were to put in Brian Higgins duffel bag,
All right.
On
I
Zoom.
will try
not Zoom,
duffel bag.
duffel bag, Brian Higgins.
So apparently the prosecution had a chance to go at it one more time
A rebuttal?
yesterday, and they didn't.
No. So actually, it was Wednesday after Frenchler.
D-U-F-F-L-E?
D-U-F-F-L-E. Yeah, duffel bag. Brian Higgins.
Brian Higgins duffel bag.
Are you
But
sure it's Ellie?
oh, that's the other thing, the x-rays. So the prosecution defense expert Welcher
I think
said
you've
we
just
don't
taken
know.
us to crush depth.
Huh?
You've just taken us to crush depth.
Crush dip?
Crush depth. I don't know what you're talking about.
So the prosecution's witness, Judd Welcher, Dr. Judd Welcher, testified that we don't know what John O'Keefe's injuries were. There were no x-rays. But when the defense put on their witnesses, they not only had x-rays, oh, it's dying.
Duffel, D-U-F-F-E-L.
Thank you. But I think this is what Eileen's talking about.
We don't see anything on the screen, though.
Oh, sorry. Gotta press an extra button there. All right, there you go.
Yeah, at this point. She does it frame by frame, video Jesus. So, oh no, it's the front.
Now, the duffel bag's in the back.
Yeah.
It's the white thing right here.
He knows to go in, get it.
He's not taking it yet.
I know, that's why it was. He keeps going back and forth.
I think they repeat the video.
Now I think he takes something out, right?
No.
Still no. Does he go around?
Please save us, Mr. Krieger. Something must have happened in 1835. Okay, well, to sum it up, based on what you know, Cliff, guilty or not guilty?
I'm with not guilty.
I mean, what are your thoughts? Is that one dead?
Yeah. Way too much reasonable doubt. Not guilty. And I'm not saying she didn't have a hand in it with, talking to somebody else and actually bringing him to the location. But I also heard that that whole family was known as swingers, and she thought she was just dropping John off to go to a swinger party, which is why her yelling and screaming at him, "You pervert, I hate you, I can't believe you do this to me," came from her voicemails.
Well, I think that she'll come back not good because there's enough reasonable doubt there. So I can't say she did it.
No, I don't think so.
With all the video they have,
I love that point that you made about the Jeep. It had, and it took me a long time to even get to that theory and a lot of going over testimony that it must have been in the garage and the discrepancies. But when you kind of explained it, there was nothing, there was not snow on the Jeep that would have been equivalent.
well, it means, my favorite story to talk about was about snow. My late brother-in-law, Jerry Wayne, when he was first a cop, the idea, okay, you did all your work, and if it was slow, you could just go and park someplace and wait for a radio call. So Jerry says, "Hey, can I have a garage door opener?" So he would back his cruiser in the garage, and he'd just park in there and be attentive to the radio. I think he was snoozing in the cruiser, but at any rate, he'd park his cruiser in the garage down back and put the windows down and just enjoy some peace and quiet until he got his next radio call. So there was an accident, a serious accident during a snowstorm. And it was a heavy snowstorm. So I hope my wife is not watching today, nor any of my sisters-in-law. So Jerry gets the radio call, there's an accident here, get to the accident. So he gets to the accident, and there's 4 or 5 inches of snow on all of the cars. Jerry's cruiser is in showroom mint condition, not a flake of snow on the car. So that's my reference point to the Jeep that you talked about.
No.
There wasn't enough snow it was in the garage.
Right?
That goes back to
And
good old.
I know, Cliff, you've been
good old Jerry Wayne.
processing it and enjoying the comments. What do you think? Because you have Air Force eyes. Not for nothing, Alan Jackson, the lead defense attorney, was also in the Air Force, which I found very interesting. Because when he crosses the Brian Albert and the Brian Higgins, he's also military, right? And he was a prosecutor in Los Angeles as well. And it's really the defense that is prosecuting this case effectively and efficiently.
We're coming up on 5 minutes of 7. So I want to ask Cliff, with the drone bit that we saw where they took out much, I think they took out 1/3 of Russia's strategic air force with a bunch of drones. Somebody told me they have to park those jets out in the open so satellites can see them so they know where those jets are. I don't know who needs to know, but they have to be parked out in the open. And the United States also has B-52s, strategic stuff parked outside. Is there any truth to that, Cliff? Because I'm a news junkie, that's what I heard on TV. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I can
You lock the
believe,
door?
I did.
Okay.
Do you want me to go
Be
get it?
right there, Melanie. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
I can believe that we had a program with the Russians where we examine each other's strategic forces. We actually send people into Russia, they send people into the United States. So,
But since
as I
several,
recall, that we took some B-52s and took them off a nuclear alert, and we had to reconfigure them somehow physically so they look different. So yeah, I believe that to be true.
So what do you think now with this strategy of they're out in the open, easily accessible to drones? What do you think? Do you think that's going to change? You're a base commander. You got a bunch of strategic bombers on your base. What are you going to do after this episode of drones?
Equip the security police better.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
So no Gale Ann's today.
Oh.
The donuts were too hot to pack.
Okay.
Turned around and got Duncan.
You're the best.
Which
Thank
is,
you.
know,
Thank you.
that'll work, right?
They'll go.
Good
You-
morning, good morning.
You come to the center, and Eileen will go to the far side because she knows which mic is good and which mic is bad.
Oh, you
Welcome.
didn't have to.
Welcome,
No, I'm not. I
Melanie
need
Gilbert.
this.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am splendid, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Got some interesting things in here. So where are you on your,
We are on item number 1.
1835. No, we were just reviewing Karen Reed stuff, actually.
It just
We were
got
going through the
deeper and
footage.
deeper.
And it was interesting because John pulled up the clip of Brian Higgins at the Canton Police Station.
Oh.
And I was explaining my theory after listening to testimony that Brian Albert and Brian Higgins most likely drove back to 34 Fairview together and were there first. And Brian Albert let the Jeep go into the garage. And then when I was explaining that, John pointed out when Brian Higgins' Jeep got to the Canton Police Station, it didn't have as much snow as the rest of them, which was very interesting. So we kind of had an aha moment here.
so it's gone to, has it gone to the jury yet?
No.
No, but the
Today's
defense
closing-
rested. Okay, closing arguments.
arguments.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting, when they first pitched that whole conspiracy, I was like, what? But then, as more and more the solo cups sold me, then I thought, there's no way, even if
Stop and
she's,
shop get back.
yeah, even if
No
she's
ring
guilty.
camera footage.
Yeah, even if she's guilty, they messed it up. It was kind of like OJ, that Mark Furman ruined the case. I mean, there's no way that can be, I thought he was guilty.
Hey, we got to go off to break land.
Oh,
We'll be back.
okay.
Thanks.
Make it, rain girl, make it.
You again.
Everybody's loving that.
They're like, you want to help? I'm gonna try to get
Oh, there's Vanna Howard. She is everywhere.
She is.
She is.
So welcome to City Life Show. What?
Vanna Howard, the Cowardly Lion.
The Cowardly Lion?
Yes.
Why? I don't get it. Oh, no, you know what? I get a ton of stuff from her. I've actually started.
Excuse me, can we introduce the program?
Please, sorry. Continue.
All right.
We can argue later.
This is City Life Show. I'm Cliff Krieger, your host. Eileen Delrossi is my co-host. Our guest is
Good morning.
Melanie Gilbert from the Lowell Sun. Our producer is John McDonough. We spent the first hour talking about Karen Reed. We will not talk about Karen
No,
Reed.
but Cliff, I want to get your insights on it because I
The
knew.
Scots have it straight. In Scotland, you can be guilty, you can be innocent, or the jury can return the verdict not proven. Not proven says, yeah, we're suspicious here in the jury, but the prosecution failed.
Cliff, the most recent text, Melanie just came, just in time to save the show.
Agreed.
I love you.
Agreed.
I love you. Is that because I brought donuts? Is that what happens?
No, because they like you better than Cliff.
No, we had a look with Karen Reed. Eileen brought us to Crush Depth, where I didn't understand what she was talking about. She's naming all these people,
I'm into it.
and so
You've got the behind-the-scenes lowdown, I think, like the little
I've
details.
analyzed it because I could be Karen Reed any day of the week.
I know. I do feel that with
Right?
Again, the circumstantial evidence can convict you,
Right?
and you need to really bring it. And she's like probably paying millions for her
Right,
defense.
and I got into an argument with somebody actually this week who said if Karen Reed was big, fat, and ugly, it wouldn't matter. And I'm like, no, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that she had the money and the resources. And we kept going back and forth. I got nowhere.
It's going to be interesting. I think we're going to see that as a movie of the week.
Yeah.
So what else you got
Sounds
for
like-
us, Cliff?
So let's talk about Donald Trump's got this big parade tomorrow, right?
You know, I went to the big parade under George H. Bush for the Iraq during
Yeah.
Operation Freedom or whatever. Because at that time I was working for Customs, so I was working out of the headquarters right on Constitution Avenue in Washington, D.C., and I got premier tickets. So I thought, on the roof line, there's like a portico that goes around the building. So I thought, oh, awesome, all right. Even though I was offended by the parade, I felt like, we're not like this.
offended by the parade.
Well, I think it's
I
weird.
love that Democratic term. I'm
No, I mean,
offended.
tanks.
Did you
and-
feel safe?
We look like Russia. I mean, we don't need to parade our might. We know we're good. And I just felt like that was just, odd. And I hadn't grown up
Well,
with
no,
that.
I see. Contrast your thought. I think that the military needs to know that we're proud of them.
I
And
just
that's
think,
why I would go to a military parade
well,
because
do a military parade, but to bring the tanks, and they even had like I'm
They're proud of-
spitballing
they're
here, but
proud
like
of
a Hornet, like a plane, a smaller plane, but it was an attack plane
yeah,
coming down.
they put them on a trailer.
Yeah, they were towing it.
They used to did bring a fighter jet through downtown Lowell.
Yeah. It went on and on. I don't mind our men and women in uniform marching, but I thought all the gear was a little much. I mean, tanks in a city street, I don't know. I just didn't, it personally didn't buy for me. But I have to tell you, having that bird's eye view of all that stuff, because I think that building was at least 4 or 5 stories high, so I can imagine from the ground up, it was pretty impressive, with that big equipment. But it did give me sort of shades of, the parades they throw in Russia and Korea and China, and I thought, oh boy. So I've been to those parades.
I haven't seen the Chinese parade, but the Russian parade is awesome.
Yeah, from the pictures, it looks pretty
I watched the
intense.
video of the Russian parade. Oh my
Now,
God! the
our
video-
parade, what was that, 20 years ago or so or more, didn't have bombs. They didn't bring down ICBMs or ICMBs or whatever.
ICBMs.
Yeah, they didn't bring those down Constitution Avenue. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. So what's the forecast for DC for tomorrow?
I didn't look.
Yeah,
But I bring this up because apparently there's a counter parade. For instance, John Drinkwater of Peace Action.
Our John Drinkwater?
No, this is JON.
Oh, okay.
Has declared a protest calling it No King's Day. And supposedly there's going to be a whole bunch of these smaller demonstrations. Have you heard anything about Lowell?
Today, I think there's a demonstration against ICE in front of the Ladd Whitney Memorial and in front of City Hall at 6 o'clock. I just got an email on that right when I was coming out
Yeah.
here. So I haven't looked at it
Yeah.
closely. But yes, I think they're little, you mean on the
But
day
that's
of? You mean on
yeah.
Saturday? I haven't heard about it on Saturday, but I believe there's one tonight at 6 PM. But not directly related to the parade,
Yeah.
just generally
So
speaking.
why are we demonstrating against ICE?
Well, I have not caught them in action. I've been close. But the visuals, the pictures that I've seen are not what I would call reassuring. I don't think that parading around raiding our streets without identification is the American way, is my thing. You can buy, those police vests on Amazon.
How about rocking the cruisers? Hitting
Right,
Cruisers
right.
with the
Well,
rocks?
obviously, but
that
that's not
okay?
happening in Lowell. If we're talking about Lowell, I think they're just raiding people in their cars. As far as I know, they're not presenting warrants. They're not, now on the street they don't have to. But it does seem very snatch and grab to me. I don't know why the
Well,
attorney.
it's not identifying yourself. Don't they say that they're ICE?
Well, I haven't witnessed a raid personally, so I can't
Yeah.
say,
The
but based
pictures I
on.
see, they're well identified that they're government agents, whether it's
I
ICE,
think
FBI.
I think what my impression is from the reporting from the people who are initially snatched or watch the people being snatched is that they're not identifying themselves. They're letting their insignia or their, what do you call it, regalia, announce their presence, but they're not showing a badge or a warrant or any sort of ID or, I just think it's very, at first I thought it was performative, but now I just think it's flat out illegal. And I don't know why there isn't more of a
What
outcry.
about Alex Padilla?
I thought that was wrong too. He was asking a question of the Secretary of Homeland Defense and, they tackled him and drug him out in the hall and handcuffed
Because,
him.
so he crashes a press conference, doesn't have any real identification.
Oh, they know who he is. They all know I think
Wait,
that they know.
I follow California politics pretty well, and when I heard the name Alex Padilla, it didn't really register.
Oh, really? Oh.
No, yeah. Now, if you'd said Willie Brown, I'd known exactly who you're talking about.
Is Willie Brown still living?
Yes.
He is? Okay. He's been quiet. He's
I
not
mean,
been very
Maxine
active.
Waters, she's the rep for Watts, doesn't live there. Eric Swalwell, yeah. He and Fang Fang. Yeah, I know all these people. Alex Padilla, didn't really jump out at me.
Well, even if you don't know him, I'm sure they do. And I think this is deliberate.
Christie Gnome's security would know him?
I believe so.
They know all 50?
I think it's their job
Senators?
to know. Senators? Yeah. I mean, I think it's important. I think you have to know. He said, I'm Alex Padilla, and I'd like to ask
Yeah.
the secretary a question.
Yeah. Alex, who are you, Alex?
Well,
Are
even
are
if
you
he...
some shooter from Butler, Pennsylvania?
Even if
So look,
he's not...
I got some text here. President Trump's having a parade to watch the Democrats' head explode. Good point. No one goes in the empty, homeless-filled downtown area, so no biggie. That's from.
Well, can
Joe.
I tell you his story? Oh, you've got more. Stay home tonight. It's Friday. Oh, it is?
Oh, it
Friday the
is.
13th.
Yeah.
And a full moon?
I may have a good day.
Get the...
And this
Because
is
karma
earlier.
applies to
Yeah.
my life.
This is earlier.
When you let in the third world, you become the third world.
I don't know.
Back to you guys.
I need some clarification on how. But,
Friday, how was Friday the 13th?
right.
Because Thursday was the 12th?
And a full moon. Is it like a blood moon to
Oh.
add insult to injury, or?
I don't know.
The kids at school are so done, and it's been just a fun week.
Is this your last week?
Yeah, so we, in Methuen, we go back a half day on Monday, and then
That's weird.
it.
Why?
Well,
The
'cause-
kids too?
it still counts as a day, but I think we had only one snow day, so today would have been the
Oh.
180th
But
So
does
day.
it count as a
Cliff, when you're
100?
ready, I can show the candidates who are running for office. But right now,
In a minute,
we'll let the
because I
girls
want to ask Melanie.
Okay, bring it.
So if you're at a press conference, say here in Lowell,
Uh-huh.
and it's Tom Golden, unlikely but possible, and Elizabeth Warren crashes the press conference, how will you feel as a reporter
in
trying?
Lowell, they would genuflect, go down on both knees, hold their hands up. Elizabeth
You know, she
Warren's
brought her
here.
dog, I think his name is Toby, to,
But let's bring this character they could pull down
and I
yesterday.
liked her immediately.
You just stepped on the question, John.
Melanie's-
Congratulations.
Melanie's buddy.
Well, normally I wear a lanyard, but I'm press, so,
So,
you know,
I'm
even
sorry.
though,
But how would you feel if you were in a press conference, asking questions, getting information from Tom Golden, and Elizabeth Warren crashes the press conference?
well, I would think front page story. I would get a picture, and I would run that, I'd say, thank you, Elizabeth Warren, for giving me, you know, it bleeds, it leads on a political level. But yeah, I just
If it
think
bleeds,
there's
it
a very,
leads. I like
you guys were raised with really good manners, and I just feel like this intensity and this bullying and this, in your face and F you and throwing it down and being
Let me ask you
aggressive.
this question, Melanie. Do you think he was going in to be kind?
I think he went, from what I saw, and I wasn't there, so even the video is
No, the
secondhand
question is,
reporting.
it's a yes or no answer, and you can explain the yes or no.
He's being a
Do you
defense
think he was
attorney.
going in to be kind?
Yes, I think he's trying to get answers. I think he wants to ask a question of a public official.
I understand your answer, thank you.
In a public,
Isn't he in
Forum.
Isn't he in the U.S. Senate? Can't he?
he said he's been trying to reach her,
subpoena?
and she has not returned his calls or whatever way he tried to reach her, so he decided to go to the press
So,
conference.
If I left a message for him today, I bet you he wouldn't call me back.
Yeah, well, we're small fry, and the bigger issue is
No,
that...
you're not a small fry.
Well,
You're
what
a
the bigger issue is that whether he's a senator or not, manhandling citizens is inappropriate, I feel. And the fact that that even takes place, not only inappropriate,
Well,
it's,
the full video shows the Secret Service told him, don't, just let her continue her speech.
she has Secret Service protection?
The
she has some
issue is.
protection.
Yeah, okay.
He was told by authorities, uniformed authorities.
Okay,
To wait until she's done talking, and he wouldn't.
yeah.
But the media's not showing that video.
Well, I think there's two parts to this argument. There's the part where there might be,
So let's use Cliff's scenario. Elizabeth Warren shows up, there's Tommy Golden tell you how wonderful of a city we have, and the police tell Elizabeth Warren, wait till he's done. And she insists on, no, I'm going to take over this conference. In her mind, she says, no, I'm not going to wait, I'm going to talk now. What do we do to Elizabeth Warren?
well, apparently, if you're Christy what's her name, Gnome?
No.
You signal your security to drag her out of the room and tackle her in the hallway.
Yeah.
So, you know,
That's the whole way.
yeah, I just think, what was that little rhyme or that little, no, I'm not, but what are you?
Yeah.
And I just feel like there are no adults in the room. Like even if Padilla is acting in an inappropriate way, to double down and act as inappropriately or, you know, aggressively is sending a worse message, in my opinion.
So let's assume it wasn't Padilla, but it was some crank and he took a shot at her. Because they didn't push him back. Would you think that it was okay?
Well, she's in a public, you know, I gotta assume they vetted the people coming in the room from the jump. I mean, I can't believe she's I don't know all the details, so I'm spitballing here. But, you know, generally, even the governor of Massachusetts has, you know, people, body men. And they're not like right on her shoulder, but they're in the space and they're watching the crowd. So they're sort of vetting people as they come in. So it's a public, I think the thing is that if it's a private gathering, you might have more discretion. But it's a public space. It was as far as I know, and again, I'm spitballing
Yeah.
here. You take your lumps when you're in a public space. I mean, you know, I think you have to sort of accept that that's sort of the way it rolls.
When the chief warns.
Melanie likes to read these, so okay. Melanie, read it.
When the chief, Elizabeth Warren wants to speak, the tribe wants to hear. Yeah, that, you know, I mean, that was fishy. I got to tell you, where she's claiming ancestry, that was an odd. Okay, anyone here illegally should be rounded up and deported. Well, but this is the challenge. Are they illegal? Some of these people have applied for asylum.
And this is an announcement for, Kim Scott sent me this yesterday. Markley, they're going to have a walkthrough for neighbors on Monday, June 16th,
I want to call and find out if
2025.
I'll have to find out if
6 p.m.
the press is invited.
I'm going to go.
To that. Are you going to go?
I'm gonna go.
Are they going to like look at your ID and make sure you're a neighbor?
I'd like
I
to,
don't think they're going to care. I'm going to go.
I'd like to relate an incident, so to speak. Sunday, I wrote to Lori Trahan. I sent her an email, and I said,
Did you get a response?
and I said, could we have a bipartisan agreement? We'll take everyone who's here illegally and we'll give them amnesty and let them proceed to citizenship. In exchange, the Democrats will generously fund border protection, and you'll pass a law saying only U.S. citizens can vote in federal elections, and you have to have ID to vote. I thought it was a nice compromise.
I like the way you're thinking.
So then I sent the same thing to Elizabeth Warren and Ed Markey.
Wow, that's
So
pretty cool.
yesterday, having not found a response from any of the three offices, I called.
They may or may not have your email and your phone number blocked.
I don't. Yeah, and if they did that, that would be illegal.
You're right.
So
So I haven't heard from any of them yet.
But no,
Maybe today they'll reach out to me.
even going to vote, I feel weird not giving my license. Like, I can't say that it makes me feel better. It makes me feel like I still give them my license.
no, fortunately, and it's a good conversation because when I grew up voting, and even today I live in a community where I know all the vote people sitting at the table.
Yeah.
They're my neighbors. So they don't ask me for ID and we don't require ID. But I think we are sort of operating under a metric from an older time where everybody knew everybody and it was self-identifying. But I love your idea, and I think this kind of thing, if Lori Trahan called me up tomorrow or today, on Friday the 13th under a full moon, and said, I'm going to propose legislation and I'm going to give you an exclusive on it, and I'm going to file it in the House on Monday or however their process is, I would cover it. And I think that they're not doing that little slow growth steps. And maybe the urgency of now makes them think they have to do bigger things like Padilla did. But I just think that that little bit of seeding the ground and plowing the ground so that you can grow something doesn't take place. I would write that story. So, next time you call, tell her to tell Elizabeth Warren, Senator Warren, Senator Markey, and U.S. Rep Trahan that they need to give a press release, and I'll write the story on it. I don't think that people are I don't think the news is doing a really good job. And I do pride myself on trying to bring in the little details. I call them my Easter eggs. And I drop in little Easter egg things about the issue. And I think the news is very much geared toward if it bleeds, it leads, And a riot in LA is bleed, that's a bleed. And so they lead with that. And it sort of suffocates the serious issues behind the action.
All right, I'm just going to make this announcement now.
Okay.
Because I have to run home because I realized I forgot to do something. And so do you have any questions for me? Cliff?
Did you pull your papers?
No, I have not. But honestly, I was at the meeting on Wednesday night and finding out, actually, we don't know if the city's going to give us $2 million. We won't know until July 8th.
Right.
I was just, and then we're
I haven't
making-
gotten around to reporting that yet, but yeah.
We're taking all of these positions out of suspense.
You're frozen, yeah.
I just came from a school building where I watched several people get pink slipped, and it was a very emotional day.
Oh, in Methuen?
Yeah.
Yeah, 80
And-
positions?
Yeah, and at least they pulled that trigger. But Lowell, we play the game.
Well-
And we have money here, but not money here. But it's what is the right answer? There is no right answer.
But do you think that part of that is that they're wanting people to self-deport from Methuen? I mean, not from Methuen, from Lowell. In other words, you
No.
may or you may not get a pink slip. More motivated people will just leave and go
But
find another job.
What we took out of suspense were more administrative.
right.
And to me, that makes no sense. Because like I've said before, we need more boots on the ground.
Yeah.
This education thing should be considered a public health crisis at this point.
Oh, that's an interesting. I like that.
But what about Texas, where they're
Never
using
been.
AI?
You haven't? Oh.
They're using AI. They're teaching kids 2 hours a day, and they're maxing out the Common Core.
But how?
And they spend the rest of the time just doing fun projects.
That sounds like college.
Well, you know what? Maybe they have something to that, right? Because I've never seen students so happy and the building so quiet because we had fun day yesterday and field day, right?
What we call experiential learning. You don't call it fun day, you call it experiential learning, which I love that phrase.
I don't know what the right answer is,
Yeah.
but our kids are so vastly different and have such needs. It just kills me when I see this.
You're talking
stuff.
about our kids, meaning Lowell.
Our
Yeah.
kids, anywhere in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Lowell, Methuen. At the end of the day, we're reducing teachers and pulling from the heart of the classroom. And
But- So artificial intelligence is going to crash liberal arts colleges.
It's going to crash a lot of programs, I think. I mean, I'm going through the college deal right now with my kids, and I'm a little appalled by how so many of these professors phone it in. It's not inexpensive. I think it's $30,000 a year. I got 2 kids in college, and I am very involved. I took a couple classes so that I would know what, using Play-Doh and what the syllabus was, and, just sort of figure out what they were going to, it had been a while since I'd been in school. And I actually ended up with 2 really great teachers, and it was all Zoom, and it was all remote, and it was all loaded, you could pace yourself. But I guess and I didn't do on-campus classes, obviously, but I am sort of they do seem to get their material, it seems to me they source some of their professional material, teaching material, from, I don't know where.
Yeah. I got into an argument. I took a course last year and I got so frustrated because I was I got marked wrong on a question and I was like, listen, I do this all the time. And It was the PDI Institute, and I emailed like admissions and everybody, and like, this is the wrong answer, and they actually changed their answer.
So you wonder who's not only issuing the material, but who's
I got credit,
vetting it.
too.
Right, and who's vetting it, right.
But I was so passionate about it. I was just like, all right, either I'm crazy or dead wrong.
Well, it's good
Or-
that you pursued it. There's that thing going around that if you ask AI how many R's are in strawberry, it tells you 2. And there's actually, there's 3. And so there are limits to the technology. And I also read that there's a professor who, when she loads her questions or her for an essay, she whites out, the kids can see it, but AI, the algorithm, can't pick it up. So there's a piece of the essay that only the students can see.
No, but listen,
And so she can tell, or no, I'm sorry, only AI can see. So she can tell if they've written their essay from AI because AI will grab that portion that the student can't see, and then she'll know that they're cheating, they're using AI.
Well-
But it's a whole new, you're right, there's like a whole nother,
dimension.
To adjudicating
in
the
the
learning.
university system as well, graduate studies. Like,
well, I don't know, I just thought the
Yeah.
$30,000 I'm pouring into this education doesn't feel worth it because I feel like it's being outsourced and I feel like it's being, how do you call it, run on autopilot.
Yep.
yeah.
And it's
So-
not personal
So-
and it's not,
No
I
one
read,
teacher
I
can
read
teach
an essay in which the guy
Right.
said
all of them.
that AI is going to do to universities what Gutenberg did to the monasteries.
that's really, and they tried to shut down the printing press because they were publishing the Bible in
Yeah.
the original German, not original German, in the language that people could read. And I read an interesting story that another reason they were trying to shut down the printing press is because people were printing pornography
But
of the day. And, you can't have that.
and
So,
here's my thing. I don't
Bible
care
and porn.
if
Now, let's back up for a second. Cliff, would you tell me what you meant by this Gutenberg thing?
Can I just
There's-
say one thing before you get
you gotta
to
go.
Gutenberg?
Say it.
Because I do have to go. But I don't care if a student gives me something all AI. I really don't. But if I then ask them, what did you learn? And they look at me and say, I don't know, then they'll lose credit.
What grade do you teach?
I teach, I do special ed. I do kindergarten, second, and sixth, and seventh.
And are you finding kids in those age ranges? Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
They all do it at ChatGPT.
ChatGPT,
what-
I just loaded that. That is wild.
Wonderful. Right?
Wild,
I'm not
yeah.
saying it's bad to use it, but what did you get from it? Like, tell me
Yeah.
what your brain learned. And if they can't tell me anything, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what reading level you're at. If you don't understand what you're reading, you're
Cliff's
not
gonna tell-
actually reading.
You gotta
so I'm
go.
gonna
Have a nice weekend.
Have
Thank
a
you.
good Friday the 13th.
I probably will.
Now, Cliff, Gutenberg.
Yes.
Gutenberg.
Tell the audience what you meant by Gutenberg, please.
Who I meant by Gutenberg.
Or
Guten-
I don't know
Gutenberg-
anything about Gutenberg.
I'm trying to tell you, but you keep interrupting.
And you keep saying, what is it?
Control yourself. Gutenberg is a German who invented, probably reinvented from someone else, movable type
Yep.
that allowed him to print things like books. And what that did was it made the scriptoriums in the monasteries, the places where people copied books by hand with a pen, made that obsolete because you could quickly print and cheaply print a book. And
Like the Bible.
like the Bible, and other things. And this spread. I think I read once somewhere that this idea had already been invented in China, but in the case of the Western civilization, this was a real revolution.
And you were comparing Gutenberg to what?
AI.
To AI. Gutenberg invention made the monasteries obsolete, and AI may make colleges, at least liberal arts colleges, obsolete.
Well, can I tell you, and it might make
Yeah.
media to a point obsolete. You can even get AI recaps of municipal meetings. It listens to the meeting or grabs the text from the meeting and summarizes it.
When I open up my web browser, now, when I ask a question, I get an AI answer at
Right.
the very top,
Right,
sort of summarized in a thing.
exactly.
I used to get Wikipedia, now I get AI,
Right.
then Wikipedia.
Chat, I think it's Chat GPT,
Yeah.
right? It says this is Chat GPT.
Furthermore, Google's trying to sell AI to you now. They tried to sell it to me yesterday.
Yeah.
Write all my letters.
Well, I think it's probably no accident, because these things sort of move in concert. It's probably no accident that we're having an attack on libraries, because you don't even need libraries now. I mean, do you remember the days going to the
Yeah.
card catalog and crabby librarians? I never met a librarian who was nice until I went to work for the Detroit News. And we had our own librarians, and they worked in the morgue, and they knew everything, and they were super helpful. But growing up, I found librarians super intimidating, even though I loved the library. Oh, yeah.
I
And
thought the librarian was great.
Miriam, the librarian.
I'm maxed out on text, so
Oh, no, there are donuts. There just aren't.
Yes.
Gil Ann.
they're coming up next.
Okay, all right.
We do have donuts.
We do.
So
They
move
might
right
not-
along.
I'm going to pull this
Yesterday
over
was
here
a
so I can-
fun day at school. So they're on 180 days of teaching. Yes, they were teaching friendship yesterday.
There you go.
Tell the senator to keep his mouth shut and fix the country instead of grandstanding. That's from Jay. They were in a federal building and were security checked.
Thank you. Yes, I think there's more to this story. I agree with both Jay and that, who was the other? Texter. That there's more to the story, and that's the word I was looking for, and I thank that texter for bringing that out. I think there's a lot of grandstanding. I think there's a lot of, I just read a really interesting article, and they call it the attention economy. And I thought, influencers. And it's all about look at me, and I don't disagree. I think Padilla was very much look at me, which is no different than Kristi Noem going to that CPAC or whatever that prison is in El Salvador, that they call it a detention center, but it's like a maximum security jail in El Salvador, and parading. I mean, there is a lot of grandstanding. Just do the work.
There is a big difference. Kristi Noem is kind of cute. Granted, she's what, 50? But she's kind of cute. Alex Padilla?
Well, if
I'd
you're
rather see her
grandstanding your
grandstand.
cuteness, yes, you have a point. But I do want to jump back to the other viewer or to the other texter. We do have donuts. They're not as fancy. This is no slam on Dunkin'. I love Dunkin'. But Gale Ann donuts that I normally bring, the donuts which are like a pound
They're
each,
gigantic, yes.
are gigantic. That's only 6. And normally I bring.
Well, I gotta say for Duncan, finish your statement and I'll.
Well, I had to bring Duncan because Gale Ann donuts, she must have gotten up late and the donuts were too hot to pack. They would have been mushy.
Thank you.
So I turned around, that's why I was almost late, and I went to Dunkin's instead. Which was
Duncan's
selfish.
is pedaling as fast as they can to try to bring their quality back up to what it was. But they're made in an industrial facility, I don't think, like the donut I had, Eileen brought me a coconut-covered donut this
Oh,
morning.
yeah. That was Dunkin'?
It was delicious.
Was that Dunkin' Donuts? Oh, I didn't know she brought Dunkin'.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, she usually goes to Top Donut. Where the
yeah,
best
right.
donut in the world is made, the coconut-covered cream-filled donut.
I gotcha.
That's the cliff.
John, roll the photographs.
We're
Of
not
the-
grandstanders here.
of the
That's
camp-
why I come on this show, John and Cliff, because we're not grandstanders. You bring a syllabus, which I love. I read it the night before, sometimes in the morning, depending on how soon you
Yeah.
get it to me. But, it's a serious, we have our differences and our play dates. We have
Yeah.
our little fun Fridays or whatever, but we also take it seriously. And we're not attention grandstanders. We're not in the attention economy, even though we're on a visual medium. And I appreciate that about you guys. And I think that's we're the grown-ups. I like to think we're the grown-ups in the room. And I think you're right. We agree and we disagree. But on that issue, I don't know what would drive Senator Padilla to grandstand like that. But it was effective, and that's part of the problem. We're encouraging bad behavior, not just with him, but with a lot of them. I know you guys. I know that you're you support the administration, and that's totally fine. But I still think the administration's behavior in terms of the language they use and the name calling and the theatrics and the attention economy is
Did-
inappropriate.
It happens with the angry Democrats.
It happens with everybody, and I think it's
Democrats are
inappropriate. Have you
spoiled-
ever heard me use a bad word or name call? I mean,
spoiled
that's just
losers.
that's not my thing. All right, get back to the,
These are the people who pulled papers before,
Dominic Lay? Oh,
before 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
okay.
So if you pull papers after 2 o'clock, sorry, we had already come in, taken our pictures and left. We got Vesna Noon, Dominic Lay's running for school committee, Vesna's running for city
At large?
council. Doesn't say at large or anything, but I'm assuming he means at large. Mm-hmm. And we got Sakari Chow is running in District 6. Kimberly Scott is running for District 5. Jose Caventes,
Date 7/10/25? Well, he's out in front of it. I wonder if that I mean, I don't know how those work. If you have incorrect information, if you have to refile.
he's running for District 7.
Yeah, against Paul Rathiem.
And then we got Danny Rourke running for District 1. Mm-hmm. Corey Robinson's running for District 2.
Yeah.
Oh, Paul left the M off his name. That's interesting.
Eric Gitchier's running for council at large.
But they all have a party there and go on the same day? What was
What?
his 10th? What was
well,
the?
I'm going to have Melanie
Tuesday,
read
that
these.
was.
Two,
the
oh,
first
so
day.
they were, right. So they were all going to city council and
Yeah.
went to the elections office. Okay.
Paul Rathiem, District 7.
Oh, Wayne Jeunesse is running. Okay.
Wayne doesn't say what he's running for, but he's running. And so that speaks to you, the wrong date. Others are saying, I'm running District 7. Shouldn't he be saying District 4, or is he citywide?
Who? What?
No, he's Acre. Paul Rathiem is the Acre.
But what I'm
No, I
telling,
thought
what I'm
Ki-
telling you is, let me cinch this up a little bit so you can see the bottom of it a little bit better. You had remarked that somebody had put July instead
Right.
of June. And so they just sign these, I don't think you have to sign this page.
Oh, well, they have a signature there, but I don't know how official, I don't know if this is disqualifying,
Well,
I guess
it
is
is-
my, or if it's just informational.
I mean, not everybody has a cool, calm, collected spirit such as yourself. Some people,
I would
people
hope
get
I know the
ner-
date.
They get nervous.
Yeah.
So I think that's what happened. So, and then Wayne Jeunesse says District 4 down here is running.
Well, I went to Michael Gallagher's soiree last night, 25 years of being in business, and several candidates were there with their nomination papers.
This is my
Getting
savior up the top
signatures.
here. His name is Sean McDonough. He's running in District 4, so I'm not running for city council.
That, no relation?
No relation. I talked to
Okay.
him on the phone. We talked about this. There's a possibility in the Wayback Machine we were related. But
Well, in the Way Forward machine, we've got Corey Belanger and Aaron doing the same thing. They think they're in July. I like their forward thinking. So you got 3 candidates running for city council who have the wrong date.
don't know what day of the week it is.
Should we be concerned about that, John?
No. Dave Conway's up top there. running
Oh,
for
Bob
school committee.
Huey? Oh, I didn't know he was running.
Sixto de Jesus at large. He's running for city council at large, although it doesn't say city council. Robert Hoey is running for school committee at large. Sidney Lang is running for city council District 7.
Yeah, he had informally announced that.
Francisco Maldonado, he's running for District 8 in the Upper Highlands. And then we have John Dakota. These two guys are running against each other.
Yep.
John Dakota, District 8, the Upper Highlands. So I wonder if they were in the office together.
Looks like it, doesn't it? It's kind of like a registry.
Belinda Duran, who's doing fantastic up in Belvedere, her signs are all over the place.
Oh, good for her. And I guess she did door knocking, I heard.
Yes.
So
And-
she's been out there.
Then we have Danielle McFadden running for school committee. So thus far, those are all the
You're hired, John.
Pulled-
Nice work.
pulled.
And you got the goods, you got the photographs. I like it. Well, I like to see a very vibrant race. We'll see
Yeah.
how, I was talking to Belinda the other night, and last night actually, and just said that when I was looking to pitch a book, an agent, they said to me, well, and I've told this story before, And the agent said, well, how many people are on your Christmas card list? And I come from a big family. And I said, 250 people. And they said, when you get to 1,000, call me. That you have to really be present and show up in order to either sell something, which in a political race is yourself. So, I think the yard signs and all that are important, but it's really more important to make FaceTime with the voter, to introduce yourself, to personalize it. So she's doing that in Belvedere. She's actually door knocking. I haven't heard a lot of door knocking except from her. Have you had any besides her knock on your door? Because there are 3 people running in that.
No, but Cory Belanger had a town meeting,
Oh, he did, right.
which I missed because I allocated time elsewhere.
But that video you sent me didn't come through.
Huh.
What's the video?
He sent me a video yesterday to play on the show. and it
The
doesn't want to-
President of the Senate of Mexico.
But I wanted to ask Cliff, can you identify this plane?
The who?
I sent this to you in a video yesterday. It's a prop job. They say it's American. It says U.S. Air Force on the bomb here. And look at the
We
Gatling.
can't see it.
Yeah, it's not up on the screen.
Sorry, I'm just looking at my monitor, not yours. Come on, baby, get in there. Okay.
Oh, wow.
But he's got a Gatling gun on the wing. And they're like, wow, I never seen anything like this before.
Wait, that's a plane?
Yeah.
Almost looks like a helicopter plane. Is that one of those AWACS
No,
that can take off vertically?
Have you seen something like this, Cliff?
no.
Okay.
Where's that from? North Korea? Where is that from?
It's the most, on Facebook,
U.S. Air
American
Force.
most advanced fighter jet. I don't think I don't
I think you're being spoofed.
Yeah, that looks wild. I don't know.
It says U.S. Air Force on that bomb. And
You have to be careful
look at
now.
the Gatling gun. Look at this Gatling gun.
Because
right there.
that weight distribution seems off. But, you have to be careful now because AI is so, it can create images and videos that aren't even real. It's unbelievable. All right, Cliff, moving on.
Okay, images that aren't real.
Okay.
The Democratic Party, I think, is in a little bit of trouble. Did you see where David Hogg, who is sort of our Greta Thunberg here in the United
Yeah,
States,
that's a good way to describe, yeah, I like that.
he was on the Democratic National Committee, and then they took a vote, 294 to 99, to annul his vice chair victory, citing he didn't make the diversity quota.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't really comment on that because I'm not up to speed on that. But he seems like he's bitten off more than he can chew. And I think in politics, you have to build alliances.
But
And
he-
you can't just come in and throw stones from the inside. If
He
you want to
wanted
be an
to-
agitator,
yeah.
throw stones from the outside. But if you want to be inside, you kind of have to find a healthy collaborative mix of working with the existing orthodoxy at the same time as trying to maybe shake it up. And I think he's just
But
throwing
he
stones.
did want to run younger candidates.
I agree with that. I think there needs to be, neither party has done a good job grooming the next generation.
Did you see where Poland elected a new president?
Yes.
They had all the votes counted in 8 hours?
I think
Unlike
they
the United States?
Don't they have a longer voting window?
I don't
I
know.
don't think they do it
How
all
many
in
time
one-
zones in Poland?
Sorry? What was
How
it?
many time zones in Poland?
Probably one.
Okay, smaller country.
No, it is a smaller country and
I'm sorry. How does that make a difference?
Well, in Lowell, we'll know the night of the election. We're going to know probably at 9 p.m. who won the primary.
And in California, it'll be days. Why is that? That's all one time zone.
Cliff, can I ask you when do you compile this? This is a lot of work. I'm impressed with your level of scholarship.
I start, for today, I started Monday afternoon.
Yeah, it's really, I like reading through it, even though
Yeah.
we don't get to everything,
No, we don't.
because I love your timeline, and it's a super informative document.
Yeah.
So just to get back to the libraries, there's a big people are anti-library and they're trying to censor the books in the libraries and all that, and you think, gosh, what is going on here? Libraries should be a safe space. You should be able to, I remember being 11 years old and going into the adult section and pulling down Helter Skelter because I wanted to read about the Charles, I was in my crime phase. And nobody, looked at me sideways. There wasn't like an age limit. When you walked in the library, you found a book, you had a library card, you could take it home. I was in that tween stage where I was too
Yeah.
young or too old for the kids section, maybe a little too young for the adult crime section, but nobody stopped me.
I remember the same in our library when I was in high school. But for instance, I was able to check out the book, The Question, which was about torture in Algeria.
Oh, my gosh.
I
And you were
read that.
2,
No, I was like
4?
16 or 17. And then, who's the guy that wrote the book Berlin Diaries?
Oh, Christopher Isherwood.
Yeah, Christopher Isherwood had I read a novel he had about 2 people living in Pennsylvania.
I'm not familiar with that one, but I did
Yeah.
read Berlin Diaries, which was really good. But, 16 is still a librarian at the checkout counter might want to censor your access to that material thinking you're not ready, because that's pretty intense stuff.
Never had that problem.
And that's a good thing. And
Yeah.
I think libraries have been the bastion of democracy. And now that door is closing. Now they want to censor books and take books off the shelves. And you think, where is this coming from? And I have to wonder if AI is sort of driving that. You don't need libraries if you can just go on the internet now and have it all. I mean, I believe you
Yeah.
need libraries. I'm a big fan of libraries. And I actually have a library card in my wallet. But I just,
So do I.
Yeah, right. And so that
But-
would be the question. How
But
many people have
normally,
been...
I don't go to the library anymore because I go to Amazon and check Kindle.
I am a big Kindle reader,
I-
mostly because I like to read at night.
I had an experience, though. There's a book out. Yes, John? I realize this is offensive to you, talking about reading, but go ahead.
I love libraries because there's space and it's quiet. Not everybody enjoys a huge house like I do, where if I want peace and quiet, I just move to a different part of the building.
Good point.
Lowell is a poor city. There are a lot of kiddos who would really like to study, but their baby sister's crying all the time, their mother's fighting with the father all the time. It's just the grandmother's got the TV up too loud all the time. The kiddo goes down to the library. Peace, quiet, and space. That's what I like about the Lowell Library.
That's a really good marketing point. I like that
I want to put
too.
these only two
Oh, except for
announcements,
the homeless.
two things I want to talk about. Tonight, Danielle McFadden's having a signature party at an ice cream stand. It's, I don't have the GP, 500 Pawtucket Street in Lowell, Massachusetts, from 4:30 to 8 p.m. tonight. She's going to have a signing party, so go over and sign Danielle's papers. And if you need your papers to get signed, I think you can go hang out and get your papers signed.
Yeah, she invited everybody, which I thought was a great idea.
That's nice. And then if you like Greek food, you are in luck this weekend. The Gold Dome Church, Holy Trinity Greek Festival. They're going to, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And those are the times. Take your camera out, you take your phone out of your pocket, take a picture, and go and enjoy some Greek food.
And I should note that they already have the tents up, so even if it's bad weather, you're protected because it's both inside and under a tent. So it's not like a exposed festival.
Well, they also have a gigantic room
Yeah.
on the lower floor of the church.
Right, and it's connected to the tent, so you don't
All
even, once you
redone, so-
park your car, you don't even have to be in the
Back
elements.
over you guys, you got 10 minutes left.
So
All right.
I saw a book, Party in Crisis, about the Democratic Party.
I have not read that.
And I wanted to read it, and so I ordered it because there was no Kindle version.
Oh, there
And-
isn't? Oh,
And I
that's
got
interesting.
about 40 pages into it, and even with my magnifying glass, I was not enjoying it.
Is it a recent publication?
Yeah,
And they don't
recent.
have Kindle available? That's interesting.
So, I went to the publisher's website, I found a name with an email, I emailed this person.
Oh, you've done that before, right, with
No-
books?
No, maybe I've told this story before.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But they sent me, they comped me a Kindle version about a week later.
Oh, that's nice.
And so
Who is the publisher? Do you remember?
no,
Okay.
it's
very responsive.
Some smaller.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
right, exactly. Somebody you
Yeah.
could actually reach.
Now, it may be that they checked with the author, and the author knows me, so that may have been it.
Oh,
But
that's good.
I got a Kindle version in a week, and I thought that was great.
Cliff, there's a question here for you. Okay, great show today. Happy Father's Day out
Oh,
there.
that's right. Happy
Mr.
Father's
Krieger,
Day.
I hope the missus is doing well. That's from Jay.
She is improving. Yesterday, she sat on the edge of the bed, so that was a real step forward.
And she's getting good care and?
Yes.
Yeah, good, good.
And her primary care physician saw her yesterday, and her boss came by the day before.
Martha's still working? She's still out there in the workforce?
Well, not now.
Well, right, but, well, good for her.
Oh, she's an organist on Saturday and Sunday at the Immaculate.
Oh, no kidding. Wow, I've always been impressed by organists, because that's a lot of work.
It
A lot
is.
of moving parts with that.
It is. It's not as much work as I once. We were in Naples, Italy, and I convinced the Catholic chaplain to do a Saturday mass out along the Dimensiana, about 20 miles out. We had a school in a place called Pinatamari, and then my wife, who at the time was a Methodist, I convinced her to be the organist, and she had to use one of these organs where you pump with your feet as
Yeah.
you play.
Oh, it was an old organ,
Yeah, for which she got no pay.
but a good story.
But at the end, when we left, the priest gave her a sort of a yadro-like item about this big that looks like the flying nun playing an organ. And she thought that was pretty cool.
That is nice.
Yeah.
So can I ask you too, what do you think about the Smith Baker? Do you think they should,
Bye-bye, butterfly.
yeah, I mean,
While we're on it, the Superior Courthouse, they get a year, 1 year, 12 months from today. If they don't have a remedy for it, tear it down.
well, I took a tour of that building, and it is gorgeous, but it's unworkable. You would need a ton of money. The floors are like 18 inches.
12 months, tear it down.
Yeah, 18 inches thick, and the guy said, one of the other people on the tour who had redevelopment background, he said telecommunications came through that building and said just to run cable or wire to drill through those floors and run that wire would be so prohibitive, they won't even touch it from that alone. So, and you can't, it's so impenetrable, you have to have wire because you won't be able to get a signal.
We need to hang on to our history, but we also need to create jobs and move forward.
Yeah, and those buildings were built at a different time where you didn't have to
Yeah.
think about heating and cooling. I mean, actually, that building was really well lit. It was 9 o'clock in the morning, and even though it was a cloudy day, there's so much, it had a atrium
Yeah.
that infused the place with light, and that's great, but the problem is it also lets in a lot of cold air or hot air, and
The dome, there are only a few buildings with domes like that, and I think that it'll be sad to see that go away, but
You can keep the dome.
that's what right.
Keep the dome.
Tear down the rest of it and keep the main entrance.
St. Peter's Church, if you look at where St. Peter's Church was, there's a little thing there that was on top of the church that's on the ground level now. And I think they could do that with the dome.
That's a really great idea. They took that
But I
St.
say,
Peter's.
we have to insist, you got 12 months, baby.
Yep.
Let's not turn this into the Smith Baker Center.
Well, and so the Smith Baker Center is running up against, I mean, private nonprofits can do what they want. If they can raise the money, good for them.
Break.
But, what's that?
we're down to 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. What is it that you want to
What's
close
going on
with?
with RDT?
I don't know. I'm not covering that story. My colleague
I don't
Peter
blame
Currier.
you. It's a
haven't-
family feud, stay out of it.
They've gone radio silent, though. You know, after they did their opening salvos, we haven't heard, I think they laid down their markers and now they've all backed off, so I don't know. I just got my hair cut the other day, and the woman who cuts it used to work at Market Basket when she was in high school, and back in 2014. And she said before they went on strike, they pushed all the product to the back of the shelves. so that it looked like the shelves were empty. Wasn't it? I just thought that was great.
Smart.
Yeah, super smart. So
I-
did people actually shop the stores when they were on strike? Were the stores open?
No, we went elsewhere.
But the stores were open to the people who wanted to cross the picket line? Who was,
Yeah.
who was staffing the?
At this stage, Melanie, I don't think that Melissa is calling for any kind of, keep shopping at my stores. That's what the family wants to do. They'll work it out.
Yeah.
And if they
Hannaford-
don't, all it's gonna take is Arthur DeMoss to walk out to Route 38 and point to Hannaford, and we'll all go to Hannaford.
Yeah.
That's all. it takes.
Hannaford's got signs out in the parking lot saying prices are falling.
Oh, that's clever.
And the store, Hannaford, oh my God, they got pristine, clean, all ready for the.
It's a beautiful-
Open for customers soon.
Their stores are beautiful. So did the staff or the management staff the registers and everything? Is that how that worked during the strike? Because the workers went on strike, so was it management who ran the store?
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
red coats running the register.
And
yeah.
they paid the drivers.
Oh, interesting.
They made sure that the drivers had, the delivery people had money.
So I guess if you walk in, so the bottom line to that story is that if you walk into Market Basket and all the product is pushed to the back of the
That's a
shelf,
sign that's
it's
gonna-
a sign there's going to be a strike.
No. So, LA, was Trump wrong to send in the
Yeah, I think it's
National Guard?
incendiary. Yeah, for sure. I think,
So if he had not done that, no one would have burned a car?
you can't escalate that fast. I don't think you can go to DEFCON 5. And I think you have to defer.
Who's
and-
making these signs? What, these beautiful signs I see in protest, who's making those signs?
Beautiful signs?
Yeah, look at the pictures from California, LA.
Yeah? Oh, really?
The
Oh,
beautiful
I-
signs, they're
Some
whole-
NGO that we're paying 70%
Yeah, there you
with
go.
tax
Yeah.
dollars.
Beautiful stuff on there. These are professionally done.
I like a professional, I like a professionally run protest.
Yeah, I think this was sort of pre-planned.
I think it's a lead into the show of force on the Capitol tomorrow. I
You
mean,
guys
I
have
think
2
it's-
minutes left. Melanie, anything you want us to know before we're gone?
Well, there's a lot going on, on June
Well, give us 30
24th.
seconds worth.
On June 24th, the bids for the Smith-Baker are due. They're going to be open publicly. I'm going to be there for that. I think at 11 o'clock in the morning. I have to double check. And that night, the city council is going to get the bid on the Lowell High School, how much it's going to cost to replace that floor and push the schedule back by a year. So you want to place
Is there
that-
any bottom to that money pit?
I know. So speaking of money pit, what do you want to place a wager? I'm guessing between 15 and 20 million dollars. You think it's
Oh,
going to be higher?
I was going
50
with
million.
30.
30?
50.
Wow. Oh, that's going to cause a riot. There might be federal troops in this city. I don't know.
Did you see where the Ninth Circuit has stayed the subordinate court's ruling that Trump had to return the National Guard to Gavin Newsom?
Well, yeah.
So
And that failed overnight.
Hmm?
That failed overnight.
Yeah, the Ninth Circuit, a very progressive bank of judges. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Hey, say goodbye, kids. We gotta go.
All
Goodbye,
right.
kids.
Till next time.
See you next time. Thanks.
Are you guys ready to get this show on the road? On behalf of the Planning Committee, it is my honor to welcome all of you to the 45th anniversary of Dia de Portugal in Lowell. The future of our Portuguese American community is alive and well, and we would like to begin our program this evening by showing you just that. We had over 60 children sign up and attend practices in preparation for tonight's performance. We are proud to welcome our children to sing Verde e Vermelho by Roberto Leal, a powerful anthem of Portuguese pride. Their voices remind us that when we pass down our stories, our music, and our identity, we give the next generation the tools to carry us forward. We hope that families will continue to support spaces that make this possible, like the Lowell Portuguese Language School and Santisma Trindade, which play a vital role in keeping our culture strong and our youth connected to their heritage. Please join us in welcoming the next generation of proud Portuguese Americans.